apparently I can be utilizing anything as far as a really good quality device because, well, uh, it's a Monday and I guess technology just isn't in my favor tonight. But, mm, well, it is how it is, really. And this is all I can work with. And my t shirt is on backwards. Well, no, not the t shirt's on backwards. The word is on backwards. Like, I hope I can be heard clearly. Um, man. Okay. All right. Oh, there it is. So the numbers, oh, the seconds are running, I hope. Yeah. So I hope I can be heard very nice and clear. I'm not muted or anything. All right. So hello, hi, it is me, and this is the very first stream. I am gonna do my best to steer this as much as I can. So 5 minutes later, after the 8:30 mark, and the GoPro just does not want to work. I know I've been complaining about that. So yeah, this is how we can start. I hope everybody is doing okay. Everyone who has gotten the memo about this little live stream. Yeah, yeah. And after weeks of like deciding like, okay, do I want to start this or I don't? Like, you know, what am I gonna do, right? So I'm like, screw it, let's do it. Let's just go ahead and start it today. Um, and then it kept becoming like this daily decision making up until today. I was like, okay, for sure, I'm going to do it. I'm gonna send the word out that I'm gonna be live, and I hope it doesn't appear too chappy either, but we'll see. I don't know. So a huge shout out to Zach Mill, a fellow reviewer. Sorry I won't be able to catch this live. Do I prefer Arnold action movies or Stallone action movies? And I have not seen a lot of Stallone movies. Not so much so. Arnold, yes, a lot of Arnie movies. I mean, my very first action movie was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, and it was True Lies. So, Arnold action movies all the way, all the way. And I've seen the first three Terminators actually. Judgment Day goes without saying, best movie, best Terminator movie. And what other? True Lies will always be my favorite. Um, as well as Jingle All the Way, which, by the way, I think it's already streaming on Disney Plus. For what I saw this morning before I went to work, so probably gonna have to watch that at some point. And hello to the view with Drew. Um, and so yeah, uh, and winter is coming in strong. So hope you guys are keeping warm. My idea for doing this live stream, is uh, not only to talk about movies, discussing two topics that are listed in the description, but also if any burning questions, any out there deep stuff that I don't mind answering, just go ahead and drop it right here, right under there in the chat box, and I'll be glad to answer them once I get the chance. And that will also just be part of this little fun thing, which, uh, you know, so far is going pretty well. And as soon as I figure out what's going on with the GoPro camera, I will surely put it to good use. It's just not in my favor anymore. So, well, at least not today. Yeah. So, all right. What's up, you with Drew? And do I think 2023 has been a good year for comic book movies. It's been a weird year for comic book movies. Very weird year. Um, a little bit weirder than last year. Last year, like, it was pretty decent, but I think honestly, I think last year, 2022, it was starting to become like this realization of like how there's so many comic book heroes, just content out there. And it was the year when, as far as I can tell, a lot of Marvel fans and just general audience was starting to feel like that weight of like so many things just being put out there and on Disney Plus and HBO Max when it was called HBO Max. Honestly, like 2023, like the frustration, it kind of like sprung out. It really like out there as far as the trolls and the internet just bashing both Marvel and DC. Um, it's not been easy. It's been quite a lot. But and I know that I'm going to be talking about the whole King versus Doom discussion in a while. But this upcoming year, 2024, is looking like things may slow down. I mean, I wouldn't say so as far as Sony, because they're gonna be putting stuff. What, like they have like three movies pending, um, so that's happening. Uh, let's just wait and see. So, so yeah. As some question continues to roll in, I'm just gonna go ahead and just jumping into the first discussion, and that's the King versus Doom. I mean, I decided to put that because right now we're talking a lot about if Kang is going to be well, not Kang. Well, yeah, Kang is going to be recasted, given everything that's been happening with Jonathan Majors, everything that's been going on with Marvel Studios, just in general, with the storyline and Quantum Mania, the way it was received. Which, by the way, it's not really the villain's fault, but I don't know. Um, I remember last summer. last summer was huge. And I say this because last summer at San Diego Comic Con, it was the spotlight for Marvel Studio. It was the time when Feige announced like the name of the saga, the multiverse saga, right? It's what we've been hoping for. I thought it was going to be called the Secret Saga by for some weird reason, because of Secret Invasion, and then the potential Secret Wars, like you know, uh, that's going to take place. And I would not be surprised, but at the same time would be if Secret Empires would have been announced. But that's still up in the air. But looking back, when they first announced Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, being familiar with the storyline, like you cannot deny that Doctor Doom would be brewing. Um, so I was just over the moon. Like I was, and it was highly speculated that this was where things were going to. Um, when, especially when Multiverse of Madness was announced as well. So so with that, there's the potential of Doctor Doom actually appearing, and then there was still the King Dynasty, Jonathan Majors as this big bad that we were introduced to, right? I was like, okay, it can't be Secret Wars without this, the big bad, which is Doctor Doom itself, and everything that he did in the comics with by killing the Beyonder. Spoiler for if you have not read the comics, but there you have it. And establishing himself as God Emperor Doom, to who destroys all realities, and in the end there was only Battle World, with one reality, the main reality, which is Earth 616, um, and then um, and then 1616. Like, okay, and this is why I read the 2015 Secret Wars. I haven't read the first one, the 1980, I think it's 1984 or 85, one of those two, when the arc first appeared. But it got me thinking that Fantastic Four is coming, and there's no way they can't go on uh without that first, and then having at least some part of the X-Men, either a rebooted X-Men or the Fox Universe X-Men, one of those things. Um because without the Fantastic Four, we can't just have the Avengers on dealing with Doctor Doom. So Fantastic Four should count. The X-Men should absolutely count. I don't know. Obviously, the Guardians of the Galaxy should be there, and I'm not sure about the Inhumans, because the Inhumans did play a important role, part of the Secret War storyline. So who knows? Um, but now, with how things are, in the horizon, as far as the King Dynasty, if they're going to scrap that entirely, like, it's going to come down to changing the title to something else, and we don't know what. Um, what else? But if they decide to keep majors, because um, I don't know much about the trials and everything that's going on in there. Uh, uh, yeah. Your guess is as good as mine, as far as like what would take place. Like, if they're gonna keep something different entirely, um as far as the story, because I think the original writer had to step down, and now Marvel Studios is looking for a new title for the King Dynasty. So, we'll see. uh Hey, what's up, Yuki Matsui? And should the New Mutants count? Uh, that's a good question. Should the New Mutants count? Um, I've only seen the New Mutants only once. I would vouch for that. I would absolutely vouch for uh, that that small group to be somewhere in the multiverse, to like traverse into the sacred timeline. Like, can you just imagine how that would play out? So, depending on how incursions are going to start working, um and that's another thing too. I always get the feeling that incursions are kind of appear in different forms. So, a little different from what we saw in Multiverse of Madness. Yeah. um and I remember watching the new like I said, I've only seen it one time, but it wasn't that bad. Yeah, I would definitely consider watching it again. So, yeah. So there's that. um yeah, it's a question of like how Doom is going to be established, and if he's going to be introduced in like Fantastic Four, or just right there in King Dynasty somewhere in like a post credit. Mm, who knows? So that's as much as I can share. um I do want to see something similar, and this is like a bit of again, comic book spoiler, where Doctor Doom like disintegrates the hell out of Thanos. And that's just in the comics. But can you imagine that happening with Kang? Can you just picture that? Okay, um so I'm just going to go ahead and full on spoiler as far as the comics. If you guys, don't care much about reading the comics and just want to hear about it, here I go. So there's a part in Secret Wars in the 2015 arc where Doctor Doom like just takes like he kills Thanos in one go, where he like grabs the spinal column of the bones, and just melts off everything else, like all the flesh. And and you could even look this up, like, just if you Google like Doctor Doom killing Thanos, and you're gonna see how brutal. Just imagine how brutal that would look on screen in live action. But just imagine Kang, and I don't know if they're gonna go on with this, then you know I will go back to this video, this live stream, and blame it on me for actually spoiling it. But um, yeah, there we go. That's a little something to kind of picture and hope for. I hope that does happen. I hope they actually like write it in there. So yeah. So there's that. So do I want King to stick around? I mean, there's no other choice really. He they really should just finish what they started with, and that's why Marvel Studios is gonna take as much time as possible, before the next project, which is Deadpool 3, on which is coming up in July, and really revamp, oh, everything that they have planned, and really just uh, focus on paying off everything that they just put out. And honestly, um, we have a whole, for most folks that have not seen most things, like there's an entire year, so there's enough time to actually watch all these other projects that were missed out. So we'll see. Yeah, Toby Cabell portrayal. This heart icon is in the way, so there we go. Portrayal of Doctor Doom ruined any future for. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Uh, who would we have to cast as Doctor Doom? When when Pedro Pascal was, well, it's not confirmed yet, but when this huge speculation that Pedro was casted as Reed Richards, some folks in the comment on some of the sources were kept saying like how how instead of Reed Richards, like Pedro Pascal should just be casted as like Doom, which I can agree absolutely. I mean, either Reed Richards or Doctor Doom, like just give me Pedro Pascal in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like that. That's what I want. I don't care if he's gonna be the main hero or just the villain. uh, say Doctor Doom don't scare me anymore. Honestly, he's not. I wouldn't say he'd be scary because you know because looking back into some of the comic storylines that I've read on Marvel Unlimited, um, when he debuted in Fantastic Four, and he also appeared in Spider Man, and obviously he fought against the Avengers and Captain America also. He doesn't come off as like this, scary, scary villain per se. Um, but I would love if like Marvel Studio can like put some sort of sequence to his ability as a um sorcerer slash uh, intellectual being. I don't know what the right word to actually put it. And add a little dark element to it. Like, see, hopefully, maybe that could work. But it has to be someone casted who can actually nail that. Honestly, so yeah, DC versus Marvel. In a world where we could wish that Disney and Warner Brothers can like I don't know, come to a limited agreement to kind of like bring those two worlds together. Hell yeah, sign me up. Sign me up to actually see that. To question is, where should it be streaming? That's a real that's the real question there. Like, where should it stream? Like on Disney or Warner or like Max? Because Warner Brothers own Max, unless Disney buys off DC Comics. Who knows? But uh, it's a 1 in a million lifetime, 1 in a million chance. So that's my part in the discussion of Kang versus Doom. I'm pretty sure there were some other thoughts that I had. So I don't know. We'll see. And then the second piece that I wanted to really, really share, and if you guys have any more questions just regarding Marvel comic book movies as I go on, just go ahead and throw it in. But moving from that to Nintendo. Yeah, because the news about a Legend of Zelda live action is gonna be in the works, and it's gonna be produced by Arad Productions, and Arad Production is a subcontracted company from Sony Entertainment. Um, I honestly still do have mixed feelings about this. I'm a huge Zelda fan. I've been playing it ever since I was 8 years old. Ocarina of Time. Zelda Ocarina of Time was my very first one. Is what opened up this floodgate of all these other titles, Zelda titles that I wanted to play and wanted to try out for Nintendo. So, given that it's gonna be, it's gonna be turned into a movie, it's honestly too good to be true. Really. Um, I don't know if some of you remember back in 2009, there was this fan made trailer. And you could even look this up on YouTube. I think it is still up on YouTube, but but there was this like fan made trailer where it was more like an April Fool's joke, but it looked legit. Like it was a Legend of Zelda movie. um, they didn't post like who the actors were or anything, but it looks legit. If you go to YouTube and look up Legend of Zelda movie trailer, I want to say it's still up. Like it looks pretty almost too solid. I mean, some of the lines that were said there in the trailer are a little cheesy. And I remember looking at that the first time. I was like, "Oh my god, I wish this was true." Like, because even at the end of the trailer, it says April 1st, 2009 is a supposed release of the film, and it's not. It was never that release. I mean, April 1st is April Fool's Day, so that kind of uh, really said it all. And yeah, I was disappointed, really disappointed, because who would not want a Legend of Zelda movie? But it really has to be done. Obviously, it has to be done right. Sony really has to listen to both Nintendo and the fans about how this is going to work. And I was streaming with Zach on Saturday, and I even said that no, not this past Saturday, the Saturday before. Um, and I said the biggest thing that we are gonna be wondering and really like pondering and nervous about is will they make will they make Link speak? Like, will he speak or will he stay silent? Like, will he be muted? And how is that going to be played? How is that going to be played out? Um, yeah, I got to see a clip of that. I got to see a clip and see because seeing if they like film a footage and how that sits well. Uh I mean, I kind of want to, but I kind of don't. I'm pretty sure you guys can see like my struggle with that, uh, but if you're a Zelda fan, you would know where I come from, because it's a tough choice. Uh, I mean, there are ideas for like who to cast as far as the characters. I'm still not sure like who would play Link. I will say that it should not be Tom Holland. I'm sorry, but as much as I love the guy, um, I don't see him as Link. No, yeah, it's yeah, still to be determined. Yeah, what I would love is for at least Arad Production or even Sony Entertainment itself, with Nintendo's permission, like if they design the logo and to kind of give an idea of like how it's gonna look like at least the tone of it, that would at least bring a little bit of more hype. Oh, and the other thing to consider, well, two things actually. Uh, who's going to be the villain? Obviously, it's got to be Ganondorf or Ganon, uh, followed by who will be playing Ganon. Um, and the other part is like okay, who, oh, no, 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 not who, but what storyline are they going to use? Are they going to use a storyline that's similar to Breath of the Wild or Ocarina of Time? Is it going to be similar to A Link to the Past? Um, whatever it goes. Ah, movie time minute. How's it going, DJ? Hey man, I'm still taking a break from YouTube. Uh, watching sub, but I wanted to jump in. Thanks, dude. Thanks for being here. Yeah, this is what I'm trying. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're joining in the discussion. So feel free to drop any questions to get to know me. And in case if anybody is wondering what my t-shirt says, it says whatever. Yeah. I don't know if it's backwards at you guys' end, but it's it's backwards from how I'm seeing it here. So there's that. um, but yeah, I didn't had much plan as far as streaming tonight, and I had plans to talk, you know, bring up these two discussion and answer any questions. Not backwards. Oh, sweet. Oh, thanks, Yuki. All right. That means it's done right. Yeah, yeah. For the next streaming, I am hoping that my GoPro will not be a bitch and just help me out here with the quality piece. But I think at least for now, it's okay. Um, do I collect Blu-rays? I do. I do. The last Blu-ray I just brought was the movie Talk to Me. I finally saw it, and I loved it, and it was good. Good. The jump scares were. I mean, there wasn't a lot of jump scares, but they were really good. And the story in itself, I won't spoil it too much, but um, the characters are pretty are pretty enjoyable. I mean, the whole naivete about the young folks. I can't believe I'm saying young folks as if I'm like already old, but um, but they're just their ideas of like meddling with things that really they shouldn't be meddling with, and they just continue on doing that. But Talk to Me, yeah, definitely, it was pretty good. Biggest year collection. My collection isn't too big. Um, if I were to estimate, that reminds me, I gotta count my Blu-rays and see how many I got. But roughly, I would say like an estimate of maybe 30-ish, 40-ish Blu-rays. Yep, that's how much I have. I mean, I don't know if that constitute as like really big, um, but the more I buy, the more I'm gonna have to think about like buying a specific shelf, and I would like to get like one of those low shelves that are not like tall like overhead, but really like lower level kind of shelves to kind of easy to look at, easy to spot. So for visitors to kind of like take an interest of what I have. Yeah, 100 discs. Wow, 100 discs. I might get there. Who knows? Right? It's not too late. Um, yeah. Speaking of which, as far as physical media goes, like really support the idea of keeping physical media like alive. I mean, Best Buy is already, or maybe they already did it. Like just quit their distribution of physical media, and it's saddening. It really is. And now the only place I go to, I mean, obviously there's Amazon, but as far as like in-person purchasing, there's FYE, and the nearest FYE is like about almost an hour away, because I live in Western Massachusetts, so Albany is like in an hour away from me, and Mall is right there, and they have an FYE. So yeah, Russian DVDs. Russian DVDs. I wonder how that, like Russian movies, I'm assuming. Russian DVDs. All right. Nice. Yeah. So so that is all I can practically share. So and like I said, I'll definitely be considering and doing this possibly weekly. I would say Monday seems like a reasonable time to actually do this. Uh, and Little Odessa in Brooklyn. Um, oh, nice. Yeah, Brooklyn. New York City is like 2 hours and a half hour away from me because Berkshire County, if you look it up, um, it's like that's like the distance. I actually grew up in New York, so New York City. I grew up in the Heights, so that is my yeah, that's my hood, and that is where I go visit for like at least every other month, every 2 months, 3 months, I would say. Yeah, only one day. It's enough for me. Um, I don't fancy much the city smells, but Hope Life is going pretty well as far as Brooklyn goes. All right. Yeah, so I think that's all I can share. Maybe next Monday I'll obviously put up the Marvels review. I've almost forgot to mention this. It is coming up within the next 3 days, shortly before Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving I really don't want to do anything else other than just have dinner. Yeah. So there's that. But the Marvels review, I already shot it. It's currently in editing mode, so that's definitely coming up. Yeah, definitely. So, did you like the Heights, the musical? Yes, 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 yes. I felt really represented in in that musical because I am Dominican, so I loved it. It was really good. I got to see it again. Because usually when I see musicals, and if I really like a musical, there's at least one song that I want to learn, um, and learn by heart. So for sure, yeah. But I did like it. So this is where I leave. This is where I leave the stream. But thanks Yuki for jumping in and chatting with you. And shout out to DJ, aka Movie Time Minute, Zach Milne, wherever you are, and View with the Drew. All right, guys. So have a good night. Stay warm wherever you guys are. If it's really cold outside, and it's Thanksgiving week, so happy Thanksgiving, guys. All right. Bye. All right.